uh, uh. Uh, coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time or a crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time. Feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on. Time in my life. Coffee time. Feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.
And good morning to everybody, and to all a good morning. Listen, it's another day's journey. I'm glad I made it. Glad to be here. I'm happy to be alive. There are a lot of things that are going on around me that I don't like. There are some people around me that I don't like the things they do. But my life is not measured by the moments I spend, but by the totality of my purpose, and for that, I'm happy to be alive. God's been good to me. What about you? This morning we're going to continue. I started a couple of days ago, and then I'm going to do my good mornings. I started a topic day before yesterday, I believe, and the topic was something to live for that outweighs you. And we got into a lot of things. One of the things that I said on that particular live is that it's time to build. It's time to build not just your future, but it's time to build generational wealth. It's time for us to step out of the box that we've been in, where we declare we're free living our best life, but our best life is being lived in the basement of dreams. It's time to make those dreams manifest. How do you do that? Well, one of the ways you do that, you got to link up with people that are going where you're going, instead of linking up with people who've been where you've been. If your future is going to be different, it's only going to be different because you shift your mindset. True change happens through conviction. One of the things that caused me to change, that pushed me into change, that put me in a place where I'm not going back to my old way of thinking, is I was exposed to something greater. It changed my heart, and it caused me to believe beyond what I see, beyond what others say. I believe it's supposed to be better. So it's time for us to build towards that. So we were talking about something to live for that outweighs you. That literally means build something, get involved with something that causes your passion to ignite to the point that no matter what goes on around you, you don't lose it. Because this thing that keeps coming up in you, this thing that keeps nagging you, this thing motivates you, this thing causes you to be excited. This thing gives you the passion. Passion is the fuel that lights the fire for our purpose. So when you're building something and you have something you're passionate about, it'll keep you from making dumb decisions. It'll keep you from hanging out with the wrong people. So that's what we mean by that. But this morning we're going to be talking about something to live for that outweighs you. But part 2 of this is protect your trigger points. Protect your trigger points. So let me start off by saying good morning, Rhonda Oliver, Tina McPherson, good morning. Antoinette Caldwell, still need you, good morning. Charmaine Stevens, good morning. Lashina Porter, what's up? Good morning. And Vanessa Robertson, good morning. These are the ingredients to a great coffee time when you have great people. Charlotte Walker, good morning. Do me a favor, everybody, invite somebody, share, help get the word out. I've got a new coffee mug. It's Philly's Girls, Girl Boss. I support the sisters. I do. I hate when coffee is on the outside of my cup. I really do. That bugs me. Excuse me there. Let's fix that. Okay, let's get that off there. Pick it. I didn't know it was out there. And then it's on the wrong side. That's not even the side I'm drinking for. I don't like coffee stains being all running down my cup. I don't. I'm sorry. See what I'm talking about? Stuff that set us off. Dewan McIntyre, good morning. Rosalind Clark Jones, good morning. Nikki Mitchell, I need you all to follow Nikki Mitchell. She started a podcast recently. Nikki Mitchell, I've been working with her. There's something in her mouth. There's something she's supposed to be doing. She's jumped on it. This podcast she has is amazing. She's good. Listen, if I can listen to you and not be distracted or annoyed, that means you're pretty good, because I listen to myself and get distracted sometimes and annoyed, and I have to talk to myself. This is why y'all here say, pick it. I be talking to the other. Okay, I ain't going to do you like that this morning. Dr. Reverend, good doctor, Dr. Barbara Gray, who's a preacher's preacher. Yeah, there's a lot coming from her as well. But this morning we're going to be talking about protect your trigger points. All of us have trigger points. You just saw one of mine. That coffee being on the outside of the cup caused something to go off in me, and immediately I stopped talking to you, and I might have to get another. It's coffee all on this side here. Look at where this coffee come from. I didn't spill any this morning. See? And these trigger points, certain things happen. We call them pet peeves. That's one way that we label them. But these trigger points that we have causes something to erupt in us, and we respond to the eruption. We really do. I'm gonna give you this. You have to work with me to know these dynamics. Train. We talk about it all the time. He talk about how when we were in the radio studio, Train is all over the place. He's doing what he do before we go on air. I need to be still and be quiet, because we prepared two different ways. He prepared to go on air by doing whatever came to his mind. I mean, whatever came to that boy's mind is what he did. He, was a slave to himself, and he was good at it, because when it was lights, camera, action, and time for him to do what he did what he did, and he did it very well. It's different for me. I told him one time, we were in the studio, and I thought, can you stop making all that noise for a second? And it got so aggy to the point that I had to go out. I couldn't prepare in the studio. I would go, there was an office, a quiet room. I just go sit in, because for me, I prepare in quietness. I don't want all that noise. And if someone hit the wrong trigger points when I'm trying to prepare, I have to really safeguard my mind, because you can send me somewhere and I go to acting the monkey. Not in a bad way to others, but to myself, I'm falling apart on the inside, because you done messed up my cheese, my atmosphere, how I like things, how I like to see things. I don't like to do tedious tasks in a bunch of noise. I don't mind sounds. I don't like to do tedious tasks in a bunch of noise. To me, noise is uncontrolled sound. It's stuff. It's unorganized. You got these folk running their mouth. You got somebody dropping something. You got somebody rattling paper. Noise. Here's the thing. Organized sound for me. I like to play music. I can do anything in music. I count money in music. I'm at peace in music. You put the right music on, you about to get a good picket. But you stick picket in some noise, you about to get a good problem. I can't do it. There has to be order in my atmosphere. There has to be order in my surroundings. Some people can come in any atmosphere. I don't care what it is. Train is one, and do whatever he needs to do to get prepared for what he needs to do. So this morning, protect your trigger points. You got to have self-identification. There's a level of knowing with self that you're going to have to achieve in order to operate in the world that we live, and not you become a burden to somebody else. Some of the things that I'm noticing, and I've noticed in me the last few weeks, because of some decisions I decided to make, I'm a little on edge, and I'm not as patient as I normally am. Well, I know what started that. And it's something I'm having to walk through for a season. It's new for me. So as I'm learning through this, it has me on edge because I'm trotting through unknown territory. I'm forced to do something that I've not done because of what I believe God said, and it has me on edge. So wherein I would be more at peace and bring peace to situations, I'm a little riot right now. And a couple of people suggested to me, you need to smoke some weed, boy, because they see the unsettledness. They know it's not who I am. And it's okay to be different. It's okay to be pulled out of what you're accustomed to. It's not okay for you not to notice. Pickett, you didn't say it in mouthful. I'm trying to help him. Tina White McPherson says, I can relate. Rhonda Oliver says, that's good already. DeJuan McIntyre says, I've been that way for a few weeks. So it's important. Janisha Jones says, I'm all right. So I think we're demonized when we change, right? We're demonized when we change, but people don't really take the time to understand cause and effect. It's like the people that get on your nerves and incite you to riot. Then when you go off, you the bad guy. Well, why weren't you bad when you stepped on my toe? You cannot step on my toe and then try and regulate my scream and control what happens next. No, my reactions are my reactions based on what you did to me. So I didn't just jump on you. You did something to trigger what was in me, and I gave it to you. Now I'm the enemy, I'm the bad guy, and I'm the one that don't nobody wants to be around. That's perfectly fine. But here's the thing. There are two things I'm going to say to that. One, protect your peace, protect your surroundings, protect your atmosphere. If you work in an environment where you cannot change it and you're forced to be there, you're going to have to find you some good distraction, something that gives you peace, so that you can listen to, cater to in the middle of this turmoil or this chaos that you're forced to be in. You've got to. Whether it's music, it's a book, it's reciting poetry. You know, I'm in the barbershop, and I started back going to the barbershop a couple of months ago. And while I'm in the barbershop, these conversations are going on. And they are always asking me my opinion, and I get why. A lot of them follow me. They know I'm highly opinionated. They want my side of things. And there are some things I've learned to comment on, some things I'm going to stay without. So the things that I choose not to comment on, I tell them Black Lives Matter. Then I tell them all lives matter. And they keep asking the same question. Even though I done gave them the answer, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, then they keep asking, well, Pickett, we want to know what you feel about it. And then I tell them, you matter. Well, that is a language that I've developed to get out of what you're trying to pull me into, because I'm not sure if this anxiety, I'm not sure with my reactions, I'm not sure where my feelings are going to be if I was to open up and be honest. So rather than gamble on what may trigger me, I'm going to avoid that conversation at all costs, and I'm going to find something to think about that gives me peace. I'm gonna tell you something about you coloreds. You coloreds, you will literally cause a person to change. They're trying to walk in peace. They're trying to be good, godly Christians, and you will bring the devil out of them. You will. You'll aggravate them, agitate them. Then when the devil come out, they go to cussing you out and acting a fool and monkey. Then you want to play victim. Well, we have a responsibility. The first responsibility is that we have to master the art of controlling self. You can't blame nobody when you go off. Now, I said don't step on my toe and then try and regulate my scream. Well, so we respond to the things that bother us, that aggravate us a certain way. But as we grow and mature, as we begin to understand the things that tick us off, it becomes our responsibility to not only keep ourselves operating in a professional and loving manner. That's our responsibility. But it's also our responsibility to notate the people that set us off. You got me one time before, but you're not going to do that, because I always feel bad later. I always got to go back and apologize. I always got to humble myself at the feet of the person that I done snapped on and tell them I'm sorry. I'm not going through that anymore. I would rather gain discipline over myself and take my power from you, because here's the reality. If you can set me off, you have a power to trigger something in me, and I want to take your power. And I want to take the power back. And the way that I take the power back is through discipline. Discipline. Discipline does not come without being uncomfortable. It is. It's easy to pop off, snap off, and tell you how I feel. That's the easy part. And a lot of us take pride in that. I don't know why. I don't know why we take pride in snapping on people. It does feel good sometimes. It really does. But it also shows immaturity. A person that's going to lead, if you're going to lead or be successful, you cannot be successful without leading. There's a form of leadership that you have to develop for your own personal life. It is. Even if you're not leading other people, you got to lead yourself. You got to understand that everything is not priority. You got to understand first things first. You got to understand how to manage your time. Time management is important. So if you're going to be successful in life, you're going to be successful in anything. Your key to success is in leadership. We don't hear a lot about him now, but former President Donald Trump, he didn't have a people problem. He had a leadership problem. He couldn't lead himself, so he couldn't lead a nation. So whatever he felt like doing, whether it's grabbing a lady private parts, making sexual jokes, inappropriate jokes, whatever he felt like doing, he did it because he had not mastered self-discipline. He had not mastered the leading of self. And many of us, we give ourselves what we want, when we want, we do what we want, whenever we want. And we give ourselves all these liberties, and then we're forced in environments where we have to share. We're forced in environments where our opinion is not the highest or best opinion, or our voice is not the one that's been heard. And when we're forced in environments that doesn't look like what we've built ourselves for our personal world, that's when we become uncomfortable. You got to get used to sharing. You got to get used to hearing somebody else and letting somebody else's voice lead and yours not be the strongest all the time. Well, that takes meekness. Meekness is power under control. Courtney Stafford says, absolutely. Absolutely. Meekness is power under control. In order to get your power under control, there's a level of self that you have to understand. You have to have self-love. And because I love me, I'm not going to give you what I want to give you. I'm not going to, I really want to do something to you, but I love me. So I love my future. So I love what God has in store for me. So rather than kneel to the thing that you're releasing that is aggravating the basement and bottom of my soul, and it's causing all kinds of stuff to come up out of the roots, my mind is carefully combing through my words because I want to give it to you. Right? I want to give you the F-bomb, the S-bomb. I want to give you all that. But because I love myself, I know that God has a better destiny for me. I have to build something that outweighs me. And that thing will give me the power to keep myself under control because I don't want to mess it up before it even gets started. So it causes me to not tell you. You know how we get when we get upset. I really want to. You can see it all in a person's eyes when you've hit their trigger button. Even if they don't say anything, their nonverbals are strong. When a woman look at you like this, run, sir, ma'am, because there's something going on that they're trying not to release. So when you release yourself and you tell somebody off, you curse somebody out, it's a good release at the moment. Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. Long term, your inability to control yourself is not going to give you the strength that you need to overcome what's ahead. Every test, every trial, every circumstance with people and moments of being uncomfortable, all those things are to strengthen you and to build you. Because where you are going, self-restraint is of vital importance. Control. Did you not know that most people in leadership are there because they know somebody? But did you not know one of the prerequisites for a leader is to be under control? We've got to be able to trust you under pressure for you to lead us. If you barking out of your emotions and you're so impulsive and we can't trust you emotionally, then we can't trust where you're leading us to. We can't trust. Your words have no power. It's one of the problems in the Church of Jesus Christ. We've got too many babies sitting in the pulpit. They've not mastered self. They say anything, they do anything. And because they're gifted, they get away with it. Well, your gift doesn't give you a license to be undisciplined. If you're going to be a disciple of him, Yeshua the Messiah, Jesus the Christ, you've got to create discipline for yourself. So one of the most important things that you could ever do is identify what's wrong with you. The average person act the way that they act because they have no self-identity. They don't even pay attention to themselves. They don't pay attention to what make them weak, what make them mad. They just walk and casually live, and as things happen, they respond. But one of the keys to great leaderships is making calculated decisions. I cannot calculate decisions without including my emotions, without including how I feel, without including my past. You know, the last time somebody did that to me, I responded this way. Well, all of these go into understanding yourself, and those things are the things that will cause you to develop the discipline so that you can protect those triggers. One of the things I don't do house parties. I don't. I have a phobia with lots of people and being able to get out of there. I don't pick it. Never have. I went to one house party. Nothing happened. Thank God. I was a teenager when I went, and while I was there, just the thought. Now, if a fire break out, it was a lot of people in the house too. Just the thought of me trying to get out of here. Who do you push down to get out? What if you can't get to the door or the window? What are you going to do? Go through the floor? So my inability to come up with a common concept of escape cause me to just stay out of those environments, I feel very uncomfortable. I also feel very uncomfortable when I'm around people who breath outweighs their weight. Pickett, don't you do that. You were doing good. Why you won't do it? Well, it's the truth, Doc. You open your mouth, and it's almost as if you done gargled the ocean. You've been drinking toilet water. You've been hanging around a sewage. Your breath smell like mildew and portalette. I have a very hard time focusing. And I'm sensitive to smells. It changes my whole mood. Mouth smell like you have mold on your gums. Something, it sets me off. I can't do it. It don't have to be your breath. It could be other parts of you releasing odors. Some of you need to burn sage around your underclothes. Oh, Pickett, don't do it. You've been doing good. Pickett, don't do it. Remember, you starting a church. Somebody needs to tell you the truth. My Bible tells me to cry loud, spare not. Some of you need to burn sage in your underclothes. There's an unsavory odor being released from the crack of your legs. You smell terrible there. God didn't call you to smell like a fish market. You're supposed to bring peace. Come on back, sir. Come on back. Stop. You got to know how to check yourself. Now, I'm having this conversation with me because there's so much going through my mind that I want to talk. And there's another side of me saying, the peace that passes all understanding shall guard your heart and mind through Christ Jesus. Oh, yeah. And the other part of me is a total riot. I want to tell you about yourself. You smell bad. What if we all would just had a few seconds to just be honest with everybody around us? You always smell bad. I've never known a day that you've been in where I've been around you when there's been something pleasant about the aroma you carry. So, back to business. So you got to know what ticks you off in order to protect what ticks you off. I don't like people to waste my time, right? But the way my life is set up, because I have I've got a few things moving at the same time, I have to squeeze people in. So I'm in and out of things as I'm pouring or sowing or giving. I still got other stuff that I have to manage. And if I take the time out of what I'm doing because I think there is something you're supposed to have and I give it to you, you and I can't be doing, you can't be just as busy as me. Somebody got to be still. So you got to know what makes you tick. You got to know what incites you to riot. You got to know what makes you feel uncomfortable. Then you have to know why. You've got to understand the root if you're going to be able to discipline the fruit. Things that we do come from something. When I get around the wrong odors, it just shuts me down. Everything in me just stops. My blood stop flowing, the heart starts beating, my eyes stop blinking. I'm like, the only air you hear is the one being really, because I don't know what to do. I'm gonna tell you something else that sets me off, causes me to feel. I just feel very uncomfortable. I'm sorry. I'm sharing. I'm being transparent with you. I don't know what your ills are. When I'm in church and them mime dancers come out, everything in me just stops. And I go to breathing hard. I don't understand why you got to paint your face. Do you? Oh, you doing it for G? You painting your face. They scare me. Mime dancers scare me. Some of you praise dancers scare me, especially you little urban. You scare me. I'm for real. I'm on the edge of my chair getting ready to run. Especially when you go to running in the audience and seemingly there's no rhythm. This is something you done created to jump and hop off a song. You scare me. I just think that the church ought to ban mime dancing. You can dance without that stuff on your face. What are you doing? You got a white face on with white gloves. No, miss me. Miss me with that. Can't find mime in the scripture. Anyway, you've got to know. You've got to know your trigger points in order to protect. You cannot protect what you do not know. So you got to know yourself. All right. And as much as possible, when you're forced to be in environments that you cannot control, you've got to find something that's going to give you peace. And when you leave those environments, it is imperative for you to go somewhere, have some quiet time so you can reset, refocus, get your strength back. Because the daily turning of events, the daily turning of dealing with all these personalities, it's going to be eating at you slowly, and it's going to get you to a point where you're totally depleted. When you are depleted, you have nothing in to safeguard your heart or your mind. So that's why you go to saying whatever comes to your mind, you just let it rip. We've got to be careful with that because we can damage people in the process. I said something to my daughter, and I was like, oh, my God. Her whole countenance fell. She did me a favor. She did something I told her to do, and I didn't like how it was done. And I was agitated by the events of the day, irritated with some of the people in the day. And in that moment, I'm like, and I went to bickering and complaining about the product. And I saw her countenance fail. It broke my heart. Now, here's the deal. I noticed it. I wasn't so far gone that I didn't notice. A lot of people are so far gone, they don't notice. Now, I don't get kudos for that. I don't get no, well, at least you know. No, you don't get no encouragement for knowing because you're supposed to know. What hurt me more than anything, I won't be able to take that back. I apologized to her. We talked about it. She was like, well, it wasn't that bad. It was to me. Your whole demeanor changed. How I saw her has frozen in my mind. And we can't be out making victims of other people because we going through. We can't be out snapping on Tom for what Sue did. Let Sue get that. If you're not going to give it to Sue, don't give it to anybody else. So you got to know how to take a time out. You got to, sometimes you may have to leave, go to the restroom, especially when it gets tight and you feel your pressure rising. You can feel it. All right. I'm 4 minutes over. Listen to me. One of the great things about having this platform, and it gives me the opportunity to share so much. Many of you all know, and many of you don't know, so I'm going to tell you, I accepted the call to pastor, and we are having interest group meetings, those interest group meetings that we have. We had our first one this past Sunday. There are a lot of people that committed to being a part of Encounter Church. that were not able to make it, but it's all good. The reason it's all good is you still a part of the family. Now, here is the next encounter meeting. It's January 16th. You see it. The address is on the screen at 600 King Street. Let me tell you what we do in these interest group meetings. I get an opportunity, like the last one, to talk and give you the vision, where we're going, what we're doing, and what it's going to take. We also share what we believe. And it gives you an opportunity to speak your heart and your piece as well about, here's what I believe. I believe that there is a vision that God gives, and then he gives everybody a portion of that vision. To the portion that he's giving you, that's the time that you're going to need to dedicate to make sure that vision is fulfilled. When God calls a man, he's really not just calling that man. He's calling an army of people. But he's causing that man to lead. And we talk about the vision. We talk about what part you have to play. There's a barcode that everyone scanned that was there. And one of the things that we ask is, where do you see yourself in this vision? What organization or ministry do you think you want to be a part of? What organization or ministry you would like to see? Because once again, when God calls a man, he calls an army. One man can't do it by himself. Moses didn't go alone. Paul didn't go alone. John didn't go alone. Everybody, Jesus, the Christos, Yeshua the Messiah, even he chose 12, so you can't do it. And I'm not going to do it by myself. We're going to do it. We're going to build this together. Our next interest group meeting is January the 16th at 4:30. We do all the meetings. We do a number of meetings first, and then we begin to plan for the official launch. That's a part of this meeting, planning towards the official launch. What day is it going to be? When are we going to launch? What time are the services going to be? What does this church look like long term? If we're going to do what everybody else has done, we don't even need to get started. We need to be different. What is our niche? And we discovered some of that this past Sunday night. We got some financial experts there. We have some entrepreneurs there. I think everybody that was there, if I'm not mistaken, to some degree is in business for themselves. I think that's a beautiful thing. So when I begin to give the vision about how we're supposed to own the block, we're supposed to own our own office developments, we're supposed to own our own homes, we're supposed to own our own car lots, our own restaurants. We're supposed to be all over the city in pockets, owning stuff, employing people, being a help to not only the family, but the community. When the family wins, when you as an individual win, your family wins. When the family wins, the community wins. When the community wins, the world wins. So we can't change the world if we don't change us. We talked about our convictions for Scripture, how it's imperative and important for you to understand Scripture. Where we are now, you cannot survive off of the teachings of the past that had no real understanding in some areas. So you need to know the Word of God. You need to know what's applicable to you and what's not. You need to know what's literal, what's not. You need to understand how to understand the language. Those are the things that we get into in our interest group meeting. We give you an opportunity to share. And I'm telling you, I left that interest group meeting empowered, ready to do again. I kept asking him, I said, why you wait so long to have the next one, Pickett? Why you wait? We're in planning. So there's a level of, I want to go and I want to have church now. I want to gather the people now. I want to execute these business modules now. They're things, they're people. There are platforms. I believe we're supposed to have our own podcast channel, our own TV channel, our own radio station. I believe we're supposed to have all that. We're supposed to occupy. We're supposed to have dominion. We're supposed to be the lender and not the borrower. In order to do it, we've got to come together. Great minds, great people, great gatherings are able to build great future experiences. And that's what we are. Encounter Church, that's what we're going to do. And I would love for you to be a part of it. I'd love for you to be a part of it. We already got some strong preachers, some strong teachers in the Word. We do. I can't wait to present them to everybody. We do. They're still coming in. We have experts in various fields. I learned some stuff Sunday night I had never heard. There are laws that protect you when it comes to credit, when it comes to you buying a house, when it comes to you buying a car. There's certain things that the creditor or the lender cannot get from you. And if they do and you give it to them, you can sue them and get your money back. Well, when that information came for, I was all ears taking notes. And one of the leaders, I've identified them as leaders. There are certain people I've already identified. I already know it stands up in them. You can look at them and tell. But she was saying, here's a book that you need to get. And then I gave them a book they need. It was a refreshing time. We poured out. Then I was poured into. I did not expect to be poured into. I just thought it was going to be a vision night. Oh, we had great coffee, a time of fellowship. But when the people begin to talk, the atmosphere began to change. And I'm going to be honest. I was the teacher that night, and the teacher went back to school. These people educated me in areas where I had no knowledge. And I believe that's what the church should be. No big eyes, no little U's, no celebrity preacher. The only celebrity is Christ. The rest of us are workers. We are hands. We're the hands of God in the earth. Our job is to perfect love to humanity. Our job is to give to humanity. Our job is to point them to God and help show them their purpose. Then we're supposed to help them fulfill it. I believe that is our mission. When Jesus said, go make disciples, that's what he was talking about. Now, what are you a disciple of? What are you following? Well, when he got ready to leave, he told the disciples, occupy yourself. Well, we've got to make disciples who understand occupation. Everyone that Jesus chose was a businessman. He wanted them to be about their business because it's your business that gives you influence. Influence gives you power. Power gives you the ability to change and make it better for somebody else. See, we talked about this past Sunday. So you need to be there. 600 King Street, Jacksonville, Florida, Sunday afternoon, 4:30, January the 16th. I'm so excited. I can hardly wait. Sent out some emails this morning because the people sent me what they wanted to see, ministries they believe we should have, businesses, organizations they believe, and I'm going through reading it, and my baby's jumping because some of the things that they've identified is already in me. There's even a couple of things that some people suggested I hadn't thought about, but it took root here. And I'm like, yes, we got to do this. I wonder, can they lead that? So it's an exciting time. We're gathering together to figure out what this thing's going to look like, what it's going to be in the earth. My desire is not to be what's been. We don't need a duplication of what already is. We want to, in the name of God, do something that he's called us to do. And I believe that thing's supposed to look different. We're not supposed to be the same. That's why we have different gifts. So organizations aren't supposed to look the same. That's why we have different gifts. I want an opportunity to be able to worship God with good music, good singing, get in the word of God, be empowered, be instructed, then go spend time with my family. I don't want to spend all my time in church. So these are the things that we're building, we're organizing. So you need to be there. You need to invite somebody too. Be a part of the groundbreaking. It's going to be historical. It is. God's never called anything and not gave us the ability, the wisdom to understand it, to grow it. We're growing ground level. We're in our embryonic stages, and I'm excited about it. Encounter Church, that's who we are. You need to be a part. If you would like to be a part, you would like to be a man. Hey, I want more information. You get the information by coming to the interest group meeting. We're not sending out a lot of emails right now. We're not doing that, but you can get more information about who we are, what we do, what we're going to do, where we are going by being in these meetings. These meetings give you a voice. If we decide together what we're going to be, then we can join hands together and get it done. I believe that everybody has a piece. When you bring pieces together, that's when things become whole. If you are a part of the vision, you have a piece. There are things that God has placed in you, but you haven't had the opportunity to release them. You need to be in these interest group meetings. The next one is January the 16th, 4:30 p.m. 600 King Street, Jacksonville, Florida, 32204. We're only together 1 hour. Yeah, the fellowship ended up being long because the people didn't want to leave, but nobody was up teaching, nothing like that. They were talking to each other. They were networking with each other. They were talking about, I know this and I know that. It was a beautiful time. And it was definitely a kickoff in the right direction. So I look forward to seeing you January the 16th, 4:30 p.m. For those of you that follow Coffee Time, we're going to continue to do the same. We're going to do what we do. We'll pick it up on tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. Without your ears, I don't have a voice. You make this possible. Remember, you were born to win, predestined to succeed. There's nothing that can happen today that the wisdom inside of you is not able to handle. You got to calm down, slow down, be quiet, and let wisdom speak. When wisdom speak, you will always win. You all have a great day. Happy Wednesday, Thursday, whatever the day is. Happy day. Praise God, happy day. And remember to think higher, speak life, go be productive, change somebody's life by changing the environment that you're in, by choosing meekness over pride. Meekness is power under control.
Coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little.
I interrupted the outro because I have to say this too. Please, those of you that support what we do, now is a more crucial time than ever before, because some kind of way, this Encounter Church Coffee Time has to merge. Coffee Time is an extension of Encounter Church, even though Coffee Time was first. But so many of you have sacrificed and given to support what we're doing, where we are going. I feel the need now to take the sponsorship dollars that are coming into Coffee Time, and I'm pointing those things towards Encounter Church. There are people that support Encounter Church. There's people that support Coffee Time. I want you to know that your seed is not in vain, and we need it. Maybe you haven't given in a while. Maybe you haven't had it to give. It's no problem. But when you do, remember us, because we're taking all of our funds right now, dedicating it towards where we are going. We are a people that are called to change the world, and we cannot do it without you. Your volunteer dollars, your monetary gifts make a difference in what we do and where we are going. So please give. For those of you who say, well, how do you give? Pick it. How do you give? I'm so glad you asked. Let me find it. It's you can give at Sponsor Coffee Time. It's at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to leave it up. Thank you for your seeds. Thank you for your support. I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate who God you called you to be to me. I can't do this without you. That's real talk. For real, we're in this together, and I'm glad God chose me to do life with you. See you in a minute.
It'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time over crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time. Feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.